I don't know. Oh.
Sorry.
No.
You were gone for a meeting, remember?
Would you preserve my chair too?
I didn't do any of that.
We walk McKenzie.
Max, like, I ain't moving. Don't care who's gone. I like this chair.
McKenzie. We walk McKenzie. Three minutes.
It was a quick meeting.
Oh, that's not good.
It was a good
It's a
meeting.
bad precedent for me. We'll now call to order the regular meeting of the Village of Middleville Council. May we please have roll call? Rhonda.
Kevin Smith,
Here.
Robert Bishop,
Here.
Tracy Gillespie,
Here.
Richard Hamilton,
Here.
John Osterban,
Here.
Mackenzie Peters,
Here.
Ann Williams,
Here.
Great. All right, can we all please stand for the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We have made an amendment to our agenda. We are adding to reserve time for Mr. Andrew Beck for the Lions Club as item C under Catherine Getty. So could I please have a motion to approve the amended agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
For
We have a motion with support. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion pass. All right. We have approval of minutes for the regular meeting of March 11th and approval of bills as of March 19th, 2025 for $114,874.33 for our consent agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Support.
We have a motion with support. Rhonda, could I please have roll call?
Richard Hamilton,
Aye.
John Osterban,
Aye.
Mackenzie Peters,
Aye.
Ann Williams,
Aye.
Robert Bishop,
Aye.
Tracy Gillespie,
Aye.
Kevin Smith,
Aye.
Public comment.
Moving
So
right along.
tiny. These old eyes, you can't make me read that. At this time, we are opening the public comment period. Any party may address the council about any item at this time. Village Council asks that you be respectful when commenting. We would appreciate it if you state your name for the record. Your comments should be addressed to the council and not to the audience. There is a maximum time limit of 3 minutes per person. Comment is an opportunity to approach the council with concerns and statements. It is not a time for question and answer or open dialogue with the council members. Thank you. Is there anyone that would like to take advantage of our public comment? Excellent. Moving on. We have some reserve time. We're going to start off with Brandon with Williams and Works.
Good evening. Very nice to see you all again. As per usual, we have lots of fun things going on here from the engineering standpoint. And so I'll just get right into it with the Paul Henry Trail Bridges. So we submitted the TAP grant back in February. They've completed their initial review of that. They allowed us an opportunity to make some minor adjustments that they requested, some of the pay items and things like that, but it was relatively minor stuff, nothing unusual. So we were able to meet the March 21st deadline of getting those comments addressed to their satisfaction, which we did. So now the ask for the TAP grant is 1.8 well, $1,805,200. So from the MDOT Transportation Alternatives Program. So also, and then at the last meeting, you should have gone through the resolutions and such for the Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund. We're requesting $400,000 for that. And there's over $300,000 in match from the village, the township, and some other organizations. We're hoping to see that climb a little bit. But and we're going to work or leverage those two grants together. So, and we're on a good pace. It seems like we're anxiously awaiting the decision that the MDOT and the Trust Fund, that we have a really good project before them.
Nice.
Irving Road, Phase 1, which is the reconstruction of Irving Road. There's been some discussion of that in past meetings. So we're planning to bid that on April 16th. And then there'll be a second phase that follows that will get the water main, replace the water main up to the storage tank. So that's exciting there. The Railroad Street project, reconstruction project, is in the design phase right now. So we'll get that into permitting and we'll get that. I'm not exactly sure what the bid schedule is for that, but.
I think we're looking next year for that one.
Right, yeah, so the plans, we're about 25% plans right
Mhm.
now, so survey, which is a good start though, for that schedule. The Mid-Villa Development, drove by that as I came in today. I know we've had Dwayne helping out periodically inspecting items like sewer and other things that are going to touch the Middleville system. So I see there's a lot of storm to put in yet, but most of that other underground is in, so they're coming along nicely on that. We're working on water system modeling and a possible new well, always looking for more drinking water here in the village. So that work goes on there. And also possibly some treatment systems. You have some wells that aren't used as much because of nitrates from the agriculture activities. So we're looking for areas not impacted by nitrates, and also using our experience with other communities and maybe finding a treatment system if possible, to remove the nitrates from the water. Over at the wastewater treatment plant, the O&M manual and the as-builts are being reviewed by George. There's been some permitting and some IPP stuff we've assisted with too. High Street just about wrapped up. We've got a little section of sidewalk to do, by that retaining wall that we considered not replacing. Going to leave it there, just run the sidewalk right by it. So that'll be happening soon. And then the High Street retaining wall project, I think we're just down to punch list and that. So by the old fire barn there.
Excellent. Any room in that project for mailboxes for downtown businesses? Did we scope that into the system?
No, we do not.
We probably could though.
Yeah,
We could find a spot, I'm sure.
it's not usually it's not my style to jump in on something, but unanimously, our businesses want an option to have mail. And we had a couple of opportunities, that project being one of them, to where we could have built in a solution. That makes me sad that we didn't do that, but it's what they make drills for. We'll work that out later, I'm certain.
All right, well, our Railroad Street project will be tying right into High Street there as well. So I know there was some work at the State Street lift station. That's a small lift station, but to get that's an older station with a lot of parts that were corroding. That's with the smallest lift station here in the village. So it's just a single tank with the pumps and all that right in it. So I think they're moving forward with that.
Yep.
Any specific questions?
I do, if I may.
Yes.
About the treatment of the nitrates in the well. So when you say you're looking into water treatment, what's the extent of that? Is that just to remove the nitrates or?
Right, it's an ion exchange system is what we're looking at. So they have a resin that will react to the anion, the negative charge of the nitrate, the NO2, NO3. So, and then that will remove it. So the state wants to see less than 10 milligrams per liter in the drinking water. That's the MCL. So currently, there's some wells that are just over that here in the village. And so if we treat that down, then we can put those wells back into use. So there's some really high producing wells, but they've been negatively impacted by the agricultural activities over the years.
In terms of alternative, and maybe this is a discussion for another time, but would treatment, probably short term, it would be there's a cost benefit to doing treatment versus drilling a new well, I would assume.
Well, right, and the answer has always been to drill new wells up to this point, but I think as some of the resins get better and some of the systems get a little bit more affordable for the, and the anion, the media does need to be replaced. So we would, of course, have to, we would tell you what the life cycle costs were, the 20-year net present worth, and what the annual, including what the annual operating costs would be based on the flow going through. But it's becoming a little bit more affordable. There are not many communities your size that provide any type of water treatment other than, hit it with a little chlorine and maybe something like potassium permanganate or something along those lines. But, the groundwater in Michigan is generally good. It tends to be hard and it tends to have a little iron in it. But,
Feels
if
like
you're
we're-
unlucky, it could have some arsenic. That's not such a problem in this area, but over towards the thumb and other parts of the state it is. But nitrates are
Big deal.
a problem that needs to be addressed.
For sure. Thanks.
Brandon,
Yes.
do we have vacant property where we can put in new wells that are on the east side of town and
Yes, we do.
far enough away from the
Well,
ag?
we're exploring one that's on the west side of town, which is where we would like to get another one because we have, well one, which is well 6 by the old ski hill.
Mhm.
Well 1 was the first well,
Yeah.
so we've drilled a new well there.
Mhm.
Call that well 6, taking well 1 out of service. We've got well 5, kind of by Bradford White there, and that's a good one. So and those are really nice wells. Then the wells by the water tower are the other well field by the multi-pedestal water tower by the school there. So that's where we have to do some blending.
We're looking west of, or east of town, so we're away from the agriculture
Yeah.
as much as possible.
Right, as much as possible.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah.
Or something near west, I would
Mhm.
say.
Thank you.
Not do something closer to the system would be
Mhm.
great.
Central.
But and spreading it out too, so it comes in from different areas is really nice.
What percentage of our water comes from the west side of town generally?
I would say probably about a quarter of it now, I think would be fair to say, Craig. I haven't really looked at it that way. I know from the water reliability study, we really lean on wells 6 and 5. And then we've
It's an
got,
outlet question for sure.
yeah, because
So,
then we've got
but we can
wells
find out.
2, 3, and 4 over there.
Mhm.
So I'm pretty sure, I feel pretty comfortable saying it's quarter to a third we get from the west side.
Okay.
And then the east side is where we get most of the water.
Mhm.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, man.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
All right, I'm gonna
Thank
stick
you.
around for a little bit.
Very good. Thank you.
Ms. Getty, welcome to Middleville.
Thanks for having me, of course. Little update on the county. It's been a few weeks since I've been here, but fortunately, I was a little under the weather last month. We have approved a hazardous materials emergency preparedness plan, and that's with our new emergency preparedness director, Patrick Jansen, who left Thornapple Township. He was with the emergency services there, and we were fortunate enough to have him join the county. Can you hear me?
No.
Let me be closer.
Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, do I need to repeat any of that?
No.
All right. We approved a couple of PA 116, which is the farmland preservation applications, one in Maple Grove and 2 properties in Carlton Township. We approved some revised job descriptions and classifications. It's been an ongoing process in the county. You've heard me talk about it before. We did it's probably when Craig was there, a job study. And so every once in a while, we have to reevaluate those job descriptions, make sure that they're in the right classification. And so that's quite a process to go through. So I think there were 6 job descriptions that were changed and some grading that was changed. We officially abolished the Solid Waste Oversight Committee. We're happy to have Tracy join us. And this last week, we did select a consultant to help us with the materials management planning. So Fishbeck was selected to help us go through that. We had 4 applicants through our RFP process, and Fishbeck came highly recommended, and I think it's going to be a strong choice for us. We amended our sick leave policies, which I'm guessing that you've done since I've been here last. That was a great joy and quite an exercise to go through. And then today we had a presentation from Gino Lucci is our airport manager. Now I think it's been on the job for less than a year, but he's really doing great things out at the Hastings Airport. We have a new building going in there and really servicing quite a wide variety of aircraft. And he does a lot with community engagement from little kids with a Halloween event and fly-in days and pancake breakfasts and all of that. It's really a great opportunity. So whenever you see those things in the paper or advertised on Facebook or wherever you get your, notices, try to get out there and see it. That he's really doing a fantastic job out at the airport. And so we're really happy to have that. He showed us a demonstration today with showing where flights were going and really how it's really leading to a lot of commerce and economic activity in our county. So showing where those planes are coming to and going from, and it was really impressive. We did, after I think 3 times it's been on our agenda, we did pass a resolution in support of the Property Assessed Clean Energy Program, PACE for short. You may have heard of it. We had to do this first step to allow developers to be able to take advantage of it. It's a loan program. It is placed on their tax assessment for guarantee, but it's to help them fund more energy efficient systems within the development. Copper Rock, who's developing the old Royal Coach property across from the Thornapple Plaza in Hastings, is interested in applying, and that's how it started to come before us. So another economic development tool in their toolbox that developers can use to increase the efficiency of their project. And then we passed a couple of resolutions supporting our DNR trust fund application and a passport grant application. One is for improvements out at the Bailey Nature. Remember, I was telling you about, we transferred that property from the city of Battle Creek to Berry County. It's in Assyria Township, so a distance from here, but really in an area in the county that didn't have a lot of park and natural area public space. And so this grant was to make some improvements for an accessibility trail. We did put a parking lot in down there, so it is somewhat more usable than it was before. It was quite difficult to get access in there, but it's very nice. So if you have a chance to get down there, if you Google Metcalf Lake or Bailey Nature Preserve, you can get there. And then the other application in our trust fund, and that is for some improvements out at Charlton Park to the boat launch area, similar to what you've done here with a handicap accessible launch, some improved parking and some enhancements to that lakefront area.
Nice.
Any questions?
Do you get any reports on the occupancy of the lofts at Titan?
They're full.
They are. That's
Yep.
great.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to the Royal Coach property getting started here. They've already done some earthwork out there, but that'll add 135 units to that space.
With regard to the airport, do they still have ground school for people that want to take lessons out there? I know
Yes.
that the bespoke of Hastings but they still have a ground
They
school.
do
out
have
there.
school, yep. They have a airplane manufacturing facility out there. I mean, I don't know that they're building airplanes, but some parts for planes. They're doing a parachute, what do they call it? They're gliders, yeah, I mean, mechanical. So they're going to have a day out there where you can ride in one of those. So I got my name on the list for that this morning.
Cool.
But they do, for their pancake breakfast, you can sign up for, also for like an aerial tour of the area.
Neat.
They said they can fit up to 3 people in a plane usually for that.
I'll tell you, having an airport is a gift. So, especially if it's manned and constantly improving, and it's a true gift to have.
I'll send the report that Gino provided. I'll send it to Craig, and he can distribute it out to everybody, because it is interesting, and it's quite a gem to have in our county.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So I will say, this isn't a question, it's a comment, but Chair Jackson and Vice Chair Hatfield were at the Berry County Leadership course today. They were our guest speakers on the county and things like that. And they did a really good job explaining. I mean, I know you're here to tell stuff, but they had a very insightful way of educating those that didn't know on the workings of the county. And it was a really cool thing. So I think that.
Right. I think the basics of understanding the structure of our government, it really, it's, if you're not involved in, or if you don't take leadership Berry County, sometimes you can assume that things are working a certain way. And
It was very insightful.
Yeah.
So I encourage anyone to reach out to your local commissioner, because there's a PowerPoint that was pretty excellent. So just wanted to share that.
I'm happy to come in and share with you guys sometime. I'm sure I could borrow it from them and work something up. But yeah, and if folks want to get involved in leadership Berry County, it's a great program. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
All right. Mr. Beck, come on down.
Alrighty. Thanks for amending the agenda. I'll start there. Thank you. I do appreciate that, Council. What brings me in today is to talk 4th of July. Every 3 years, as chair, I've come before the village, the DDA, and the township, kind of talk about what happened over the past 3 years and what the next 3 years could look like. Finance is involved in that too. So just to jump into it, 4th of July, I think it's been a success. I've only heard good things still. With that being said, we haven't changed the amounts that we've asked for from the village, the DDA, or the township over the past, say, 6 years. We survived the pandemic. We are surviving inflation, I think. I don't know. I know that all our fireworks, like 2 years ago, were sitting out on a boat in California. So that was a little nerve-wracking. But this year, we've made some changes. This year, we're going with a company that will light off the fireworks, so we will not be hand lighting them anymore. The company will be providing that service. Still very well within our budget, actually probably a little under than what we were expecting. But with the inflation and all that, the village, the DDA, and the township, each entity has provided $3,000 per year for the past, I think this is year 8 now on a public level. I was hoping very respectfully to come before council and ask if we could change that number from 3,000 to 4,000. I'll be meeting with the DDA next week, and the township April 20th, I believe, is when I'm on their agenda. I'll be asking them the same questions. What does that provide, right? Like what does that money actually do? It's an all-day event. It begins in the morning around 9 o'clock down here at the pavilion. We'll have bounce houses and a DJ to fit with inside the DDA district. That will continue on till about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Hopefully get some businesses involved that might participate in whatever their capacities might be. then we kind of figure due to our demographics of families, a lot of kids, that people kind of shut down in the afternoon is what we've seen. So then the events start back up at 6 o'clock at night at the high school soccer fields. And from there, it's a live band from 6 to 10. There's free axe throwing, laser tag, archery tag. And I know a local church always brings a huge inflatable mountain, I guess is what I'll call it. And last year, they also handed out over 1,200 free hot dogs to the community, and water and sunscreen and bug spray. So we're getting a lot of support within the community on this too. That's kind of the rundown. 10 o'clock, we have about a 1 hour fireworks show. I could talk about that for days, but also really good reviews on our fireworks show. We love the fact that it's all been free for our community. Anybody is welcome. We actually found a wallet last year from somebody in Grand Rapids, so we were able to return that to them. But what we're seeing is families are coming together from outside of our county. They're coming here on 4th of July. And so that's a big win for us. That's really kind of my speech to you guys. As far as that goes, the big question is, are we willing to increase the amount due to inflations? Are we not? That's completely up to you guys. But like I said, I am talking with the DDA and the township also.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. When would be a good time to get that on the agenda?
We could get it as soon as the next meeting in April, if you like, or whenever.
Yeah,
Whenever Andrew has his stuff in ordering, he might have an answer from the township and the DDA by
Yeah.
the next meeting too, so.
If I may, I think it might be good to run it by our new communities coordinator, event coordinator, Cassie, and kind of have her take the lead as the first official maybe event for the community. It's being funded by taxpayer dollars, so I think that'd be an appropriate avenue.
We can,
Discuss it.
I mean, we,
He's going to the DDA anyway.
yeah,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
a separate request. I think,
Yeah.
I don't believe we need to wait for the township or the DDA.
no, you don't.
I'm sure we're committed in whatever level.
Yeah.
And it's worth just noting that we absolutely will be donating again. I would hope, given the right approval, but it's certainly one of my favorite events of the year. And it's getting bigger. Every year, it just seems like more and more people are showing up to that. So it's a huge success, and it shows what we can do together. And I'm hopeful that if we can get that before the board and we can have a discussion about it, and I'm confident. I feel confident.
Thank you.
Thanks,
I really appreciate your counsel. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we'll be in touch to get you on the agenda, I think, as soon as
Yeah.
possible.
Just let me
so
know.
that you know.
When you got all the details, Andrew, and we can put something together and get
Yep.
you soon. Yes, sir.
Thanks, appreciate you.
Thank you, Andy.
All right, petitions and communications. So we have an event permit for the Riverbank Music Series. Mr. Powers, welcome.
Good evening, Council. So this is an event, the River Music Bank Series. We've done this numerous years before. The dates that we have tentatively scheduled are June 6th through August 29th. We have currently projected bands through August 22nd and potentially have left July 4th open pending how, other events go. If there is music or anything done in the downtown, that will likely be part of a separate event that will be petitioned at a different time. Beyond this, everything is fairly similar to what you've seen in previous years, but I'd be more than happy to answer any comments, questions, or concerns that you may have.
I'll make a motion, if it so pleases President, to approve the event permit provided by Doug for the DDA Riverbank Music Series.
Support.
We have a motion with support to approve the Middleville DDA's live music for the Riverbank Music Series, running from June 6th to August 29th-ish. Any other further discussion?
I just have one suggestion. I notice when we get these apps, sometimes you can read the signature at the bottom. You know who the person is. This one here.
That's my
and
signature.
sometimes, I don't know who that is, but I would say, as a suggestion, that just put a place there where they can print their name. I'd really like to know who that person is. Yeah, but this one,
It says Middleville DDA.
right?
Sorry,
Just an idea.
Well, at the bottom, honestly, if it's not someone on our staff, I'm blocking that signature out anyway.
Yeah,
So you aren't usually seeing a signature.
is that you?
No, but it's Doug, but if it's not someone on our staff, I block the signature out anyway to protect them. So,
So if you can't read it, you don't have to block it.
well, fair enough. Well, he's on staff, so.
All right. Thank you.
His signature's out there.
All right, here we go. We have a motion with support. We have a motion with support. Any further? We can just do this as a regular call out, can't we? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. All right, well, it looks like Doug's going to persist up there for a little bit longer. He's not moving, so we're moving on to ordinances and resolutions. Resolution 2505, temporary suspend enforcement of RV storage.
So this resolution is fairly similar to what you've seen in previous years. However, you will notice that there are changes in the dates. These changes are due to communication with off-site places that people are able to locate their RVs during the time of the transition of the seasons. So the dates are similar, but just not the same. Beyond that, this is some very similar document to what you've seen, the last few years. Don't know if anyone has any questions, would like me going into greater details to why.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2505, the temporarily suspended enforcement of RV storage.
Support.
We have a motion with support for Resolution 2505. We'll go ahead and do a roll call on that, if you don't mind, please.
John Osterbon,
Aye.
Mackenzie Peters,
Aye.
Ann Williams,
Aye.
Robert Bishop,
Aye.
Tracy Gillespie,
Aye.
Richard Hamilton,
Aye.
Kevin Smith.
Aye.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you. Mr. Stolzenberg.
Hello. First item from me is Resolution 2504 to exempt fees for peddlers during middle events, specifically like Heritage Day. If somebody wanted food trucks or whatever, we wouldn't, and same with that, we wouldn't ask for peddlers permits for those.
Clarify that that's through the village thing. The DDA may still be charging and looking for that information,
Yes.
but we don't do it through the village itself, peddler side.
Okay.
I don't want anybody to listen to that recording and think there's no fees.
Got it.
I'll make a motion that we pass resolution 2504, suspending the need for peddlers permits during events. Support.
We have a motion with support for Village Council to approve Resolution 2504, which is an exemption for peddlers during specific Middleville events. Rhonda, may I please have a roll call?
Mackenzie Peters,
Aye.
Ann Williams,
Aye.
Robert Bishop,
Aye.
Tracy Gillespie,
Aye.
Richard Hamilton,
Aye.
John Osterbon,
Aye.
Kevin Smith.
Aye.
Next, we have a couple of resolutions. First, decertifying a portion of Arlington Court and then recertifying. So right around 2000-ish, Arlington Court used to run differently. So we recently had an audit by MDOT to look at, the funds that we're receiving for our local and major streets. And they noticed that there was a discrepancy here. So they asked us to, have these resolutions passed in order to correct that mistake.
I'll make a motion, if I may, to approve resolution 2506 for Act,
51.
Decertify.
yeah, 51. Oh, as written. I'll just put resolution 2506 as written. I can't read it either.
Support.
Who supported that? I'm sorry.
Robert.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion with support for Resolution 2506 for Act 51 funding as written. Rhonda, may I please have a roll call?
Ian Williams,
Aye.
Robert Bishop,
Aye.
Tracy Gillespie,
Aye.
Richard Hamilton,
Aye.
John Osterban,
Aye.
Mackenzie Peters,
Aye.
Kevin Smith,
Aye.
And then we need another for 2507, same, except for it's recertifying it.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2507 to certify 245 feet of Arlington Court.
Support.
We have a motion with support for us to approve Resolution 2507, adding the new portion of Arlington Court into the Village Street system in accordance with Act 51, PA 1951 as amended. Rhonda, may I please have a roll call?
Robert Bishop,
Aye.
Tracy Gillespie,
Aye.
Richard Hamilton,
Aye.
John Osterban,
Aye.
Mackenzie Peters,
Aye.
Ann Williams,
Aye.
Kevin Smith.
Aye.
Sorry.
Oh, hi.
Great.
Next up is Resolution 2508. This is updated resolution that you previously approved to apply for the Michigan DNR Trust Fund grant. This includes all of the other committed donors at this point that we have so far, including Thornapple Township, the North Country Trail Association, Paul Henry Trail Association, Thornapple Area Enrichment Foundation, and the TAP grant. So
Have we been able to hit up the county for anything yet, or?
I reached out to the county, and they're stretched pretty thin at this point. So I'm going to give an update in an upcoming meeting, just to let them know where we're at, and maybe plant the seed that will maybe talk to them at a later date.
Sure.
As the project moves along. So.
And you're talking to Bradford White?
Yes. Yep. We're in discussion with them right now. So that's all I can say about that.
Do I need two separate motions, one to rescind and one to approve?
Yes, we do
Okay.
need two separate motions.
I will make a motion to rescind resolution 2501, local support for DNR and RTF projects previously approved on February 11th. Support.
We have a motion with support to rescind Resolution 2501, local support for DNR and RTF projects previously approved on February 11th. Rhonda, may I please have a roll call?
Tracy Gillespie,
Aye.
Richard Hamilton,
Aye.
John Osterban,
Aye.
Mackenzie Peters,
Aye.
Ann Williams,
Aye.
Robert Bishop,
Aye.
Kevin Smith,
I will make a motion to approve Resolution 2508 to apply for the Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund grant as presented.
Support. I think Robert got that one.
Mm-hmm.
He did?
Yes, he
Oh,
did.
he's quiet then.
I heard
Sorry.
it.
I got you.
We have a motion with support to move to approve Resolution 2508 to apply for the Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund grant as presented. Rhonda, may I please have a roll call?
Richard Hamilton,
Aye.
John Osterban,
Aye.
Mackenzie Peters,
Aye.
Ann Williams,
Aye.
Robert Bishop,
Aye.
Tracy Gillespie,
Aye.
Kevin Smith,
Aye.
Moving right along.
Craig, can't get rid of you. Staff reports?
You have the choice to if you'd
No,
like,
no,
but-
and I don't want you. I'm
Okay,
just
just
joking.
checking.
Please don't ever take that seriously.
It's ultimately up to you all if I'm here or not, but
We love you.
anyway, just kidding. No. Report. So you all have my report. Hopefully you've had a chance to review it. Information technology, Beth is here. Hopefully everybody's having better luck with their computers over the past few weeks. And if there are any further, issues, just let me know and we can hopefully, work through that stuff. And then also at the United Way award ceremony, the village received 2 very fabulous awards. So we got the Award of Excellence for just 100% participation and some other good stuff that we've done. 100% participation, increased giving of 18%. And then we also received a United We Gave Award. So this is just for being an awesome partner with the United Way. You know, we're always willing to do projects, Day of Caring projects, anything, you know, related to, you know, donating time and energy and things like that. So got that too.
Excellent.
That's all I've got. Unless
Humbly
anybody has any
received.
questions.
It's a
What's
good
that?
part. I said humbly received. That's a
You know,
great honor.
it is a really awesome organization. They do a lot of really terrific things in the community, and, you know, I'm happy that we have such good participation from staff. So,
For sure. For sure. Thank you.
Yep. Anything else?
Don't forget your water.
Mr. Powers. Man of many titles and talents.
I try to do my part. So, looking back on the month of March, there were not a lot of zoning permits. However, you know, a few items related to zoning that you should be aware of. 36 State Street, in line with what Commissioner Getty mentioned earlier, that the Copper Rock was trying to see what happened with a PACE request before they came back, and we had further discussions about what a tentative development agreement would look like. Master plan survey is still out and available. We've been getting, you know, some good participation. It will be closing at the end of this week. So anyone that hasn't submitted, that wants to have a voice, please do so. Ordinance Committee is working on a handful of items that are listed below related to our streets, Land Division Act, and potential zoning reclassifications along with special use permit requirements. Special use public hearing on March 4th, the Planning Commission held a public hearing and approved a special use for a drive-through facility at the Mid-Villa site. So on to the DDA updates. We do have a new staffing update that Cassandra Clark has joined us now. So she will be helping out and learn more about her roles as well. Related to, you know, there are a handful of completed projects. I will say the dumpster screening, we do need to potentially make some further improvements on that, even though that was listed as completed, because there are still items that need to be addressed. From the ongoing, the social district implementation, pending what happens at the upcoming DDA meeting, you are likely to see a potential resolution at upcoming meeting to be determined, which that'll depend on what happens next week. There's a handful of other items going on. Certainly, I'm sure you're aware, you know, we are getting, you know, participation in the farmer's market. The majority of the music series has, you know, contracts have been negotiated. They've all been approved by the board. So that's fully underway. You know, I have a couple things on the economic vitality side, and we also did have our first Main Street meeting with a couple of the committee chairs. So trying to still get some additional guidance and so forth there, because we will be having to evaluate possible changes in regards to our budgeting structure. And, you know, we can kind of touch base on that, what that means, you know, a little later as well. Hopefully anyone has any questions about this or anything else.
I'm just in review of the document you sent out with regard to the social district, and I mean, I think the map is spot on. I think it really encompasses that city center area that I think anyone in that space will be able to participate, existing and potentially future. So, and it was a good summary of what your thoughts are. So, and one other comment: the master plan survey.
Yes.
Boy, that is like literally the most painless survey ever. I'm not a big fan of surveys. I don't know if, I mean, I think that's hit or miss with regard to their efficacy, but I shared that with a number of people and I pinged them back to find out if they actually filled it out, and they did. So I was impressed. I mean, like that it wasn't takes like, if you're thoughtful in your answer, maybe 3 to 4 minutes, but I think it gathered really good information.
So yeah, we've gotten a little over double the participation we received from our last master plan update, hoping, to get some additional numbers. And, from the social district perspective, when this comes back to the council, then at that point, I'll have more details in regards to, next steps or action items that may be required as the council is. I know that we've had dialogue about what, other items need to be addressed besides, preparing the map. There are other steps before you would potentially see a social district enabled.
Sure. Appreciate that. Thanks, Doug.
Thank you.
Mr. Burglar, code enforcement.
Yes, indeed.
Share us your wisdom.
Yeah, last month was a weird month, between 20 degrees and 60 degrees. It was just all over the place, and so was I. There was odds and ends and stuff. So I elected to talk a little bit about the target items for the spring. That you have the list. It's pretty easy to follow. It's RV storage all the way through, not excluding anything, but this is kind of where my focus is going to go for the next couple months.
Excellent.
And that's that.
What in terms of 78-664, multiple cars and driveways, what are the boundaries and
There's a lot of boundaries.
what does that look like?
There's a few of them that have got 5 or 6 cars in their drive, and it depends on the lot size, which most are village lots, and you almost have to go back to the book to adjust how many can be there, but typically it's 4. A lot of them are driving on the lawns now because at some point I made them get off the roads during the night, and so they parked on their yards. Well,
There's a sidewalk overhang component to that as well, or how does that?
oh yeah, oh definitely. That's yeah, if you're parked on the sidewalk, I can't remember the number right offhand,
Yep.
but it's a ticketable, or at least I've never given a citation, but I've given a lot of the yellow tags on, and generally that takes care of that.
Yeah.
Generally they're visitors that don't know that they're supposed to.
I will say, because I walk my dog twice a day, the Seneca Ridge and that whole, town center
Yeah,
complex, that is a big problem in the summertime. They block multiple days in a row, consistently, they're blocking the sidewalk.
Yeah.
I mean, just regularly. Last summer was awful.
there's a spot of Seneca that is more or less the newer homes, and they have not been trained well.
Right. But,
You're
yeah.
working on it though, right?
Yeah, but just, just as a FYI, if you're driving through there, it's pretty bad, especially, as people get home from work.
Yeah.
You can't walk around without getting into the road, and
My guideline is if mom is pushing the baby carriage and they can't get around without going around.
yeah, that's how it is that bad, yeah.
Yeah.
I use that, by the way. Thank you. I use
Yeah.
that.
I have page 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
page 2.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
sorry.
I have
Don't let me slow you down.
I have a suggestion
Go, question.
for your
Yeah.
consideration. Dumpsters. Last year, we had quite a few part-time contractors that bought houses and remodeled them. And they consequently bring a dumpster in, and it sits in the yard, not like our commercial dumpsters where the developments where they get them in and get them out as fast as they can. They can sit in the driveway for 3 or 4 months. There's no ordinance that says that there should be a time limit as to how long they can be there. So I would just like that for consideration.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, on the parking, I think we've talked about it before, but there isn't a violation if they park in the front yard, only if they cross the sidewalk?
They can't cross the sidewalk, but it's not a violation if they do park in the yard. You've got several neighbors that park in their driveway or in their lawn. That technically is not a violation until they stay on the lawn so long that it tears up the yard and it turns into mud. And so that, because there has to be another foliage.
Then it becomes a 78-166 ground cover violation.
There you go. Yeah, thank you. I knew it was
The
there.
grass doesn't get over
Well, I
6
mean, but
inches.
then,
there.
like, one neighbor, does that solve it when he put a gravel driveway next to his driveway?
There's some that have
Well,
put,
okay, he put gravel there, maybe it's
Yeah.
not, it's still his front yard, but it's no longer, I think he had to do it because he learned his lesson about driving on his yard. I think he took the sewer line out. I
okay,
believe.
well, that'll happen.
So, I
Oh my
mean,
gosh.
so is that mean, is that ground cover? Because he's got.
It's a cover. It would not, there's one that put mulch in their front yard, literally the entire front yard. And it's, the reason for that ground cover rule is to have a lot of places we're getting some mud just running it back into the road and Alec did not appreciate that. And so, yeah, but it's just, there's a lot of different ways to control the mud, and that's what the whole ground cover ordinance is about. So. Anyway, I would like that for consideration at some point.
Yeah.
If
The
you may.
dumpster, I'm just wondering, how would you approach that? Because maybe the project's 3 months, 2 months long, 3 months long. I don't know.
Well,
I can't imagine that, but I don't know.
oh yeah, well, for one example, there was a gentleman there was a contractor that came in, single contract, just as carpenter, and he remodeled the entire house, and he had the dumpster there for literally the entire summer last year.
Yeah, Stadium Drive. Stadium Drive and Main Street. The guy that was remodeling that little house.
Yeah.
There was something there a long time. But
There
do they have an application? Do they file an application to put one of those?
there is
there?
not one
Okay.
for a dumpster.
But that's what you're suggesting, that we have some means of tracking it. Yeah.
That would be workable.
Yeah,
At least we know how long, we know when the start was and when
yeah.
I would like to note that you could read my signature.
I
Most
don't see it up here. Okay, yeah. Robert?
questions?
That was wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Bob.
Appreciate you. No unfinished business?
Do you want liaison reports?
Oh, yeah.
Never mind. I'd like to backtrack and say any liaison reports. I think Doug nailed the DDA, at least from my last participation. So I think that is good for the DDA. Any other liaison?
Yeah, I think there's correction due on the planning commission. I think that meeting's been moved to the 15th of April.
That's on my notes. This was done prior
Yeah.
to confirming that. So yeah, that on your agenda where it says the planning commission is April 1st,
Yeah.
it's actually April 15.
Yep.
So.
That's all I have.
Okay, go.
You know what? Ann looks excited to share about our library meeting.
I thought we should share together.
All right, well, you should first. Yeah.
We got our results for the feasibility study. We had a Zoom meeting with Keith, and he talked over everything, and it was good, challenging, definitely challenging. But I think everyone involved we had a good plan, and we have a good footing on how we're going to resolve it. And I know that they're trying to set up a meeting to share the feasibility study with everyone here, the village, obviously. I don't know, my overall take was, it was really exciting, really good.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it.
In the study, just to, capture the interest of those wondering about how the community felt, it was a positive finding where a lot of folks felt that a library would be beneficial because it indicates a well-educated community and a community that invests in our programming and things like that. So I think it was certainly something that our stakeholders that were interviewed were interested in. There were some suggestions that we certainly are looking to adopt. However, we need that cooperation with Craig and figuring stuff out on that end. So I don't want to speak out of turn until we've had that group meeting, like Ann said. So, but I think overall it's good steps and we have actionable items. So
Yeah.
to get through.
Yep.
But all in all, good positive direction.
Excellent.
And then TAPRC was moved from March to April, which Catherine has already sent to the team. And so we'll have that meeting in April.
I can't wait to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah.
Money in place.
That's right.
Okay.
Any other liaison reports that we're missing?
Catherine summed up the materials management pretty much.
Got it. Anyone else? This is your time to shine. All right. Very good. We're moving on then. Back to, before I was rudely interrupted about liaison reports by Mr. Stolzenberg, I would like to move forward with any unfinished business, which there is none. And we have new business, which is personnel policy amendment. Mr. Stolzenberg, please. I've heard about this, by the way. My beautiful wife is in HR, and
It's so much fun.
I'm telling you
It's
what,
the,
I've heard
it's the
all
best
about
time
it.
ever.
I've heard all about it.
Yeah, yep. So this is amendment proposed to the personnel policy to comply with the Earned Sick Time Act of Michigan. And we had our attorney at Micah Myers draft some recommendations, and we adopted that. Really, as far as time off, it's really not going to affect anybody with the exception of part-timers, which now Bob, I think, has 2 earned hours now. So congratulations, Bob. Other than that, it's really, and then as far as the union employees, there's no change for them because we have a collectively bargained union contract for them. So nothing's going to change for them either. So it's really going to be not a whole lot of, except for, there's people can not show up and not call in and all that fun stuff, but we'll work through all those fun things as we see fit. So other than that, asking for a motion to approve.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
I read through that with a jaundiced eye. And I wondered that $2,000 to $3,000 for part-time summer, that's if they exceed 90 days, correct?
That's if
That's set
they,
aside.
well, no, they can start accruing it immediately, but then they'd have to use it after the 90 days.
Before they go
Yes.
back to where they're
Yes,
going.
exactly. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So I want to point out, because also painstakingly had to amend policy updates elsewhere. It's very true to the act, and just point of clarity that I discussed with you yesterday is that no PTO, like the lump sum between earned sick time and earned or vacation time, it's going to be the same. So no one got a reduction in hours, I don't think, right?
No, nobody is getting a reduction. That's
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, any other discussion? Okay. Do I have a motion?
Yes. Not sure I can read it. but I will make a motion to approve the revised personnel policy, which is in form of an amendment, as it's stated up there.
Support.
Yes, sir. We have a motion with support. Thank you. Move to amend the Village of Middleville personnel policies dated March 25th, 2025, as presented. Rhonda, may I please have a roll call?
Certainly. John Osterbon,
Aye.
Mackenzie Peters,
Aye.
Ann Williams,
Aye.
Robert Bishop,
Aye.
Tracy Gillespie,
Aye.
Richard Hamilton,
Aye.
Kevin Smith,
Aye. Mr. Stolzenberg?
Next you have, so previously, with our previous finance director, the unpaid water and sewer bills were not attached to taxes as regularly as what we would like to see in the future. We'd like to do this every year for the previous year, moving forward, which needs action by village council. Prior to coming here tonight, we sent out letters to everybody that's affected on the list. Hopefully everybody received my email today with the list color coded, 2022 in yellow, 2023 in green, and 2024 in blue. We sent out letters notifying the current homeowners that it would be attached to their taxes if not paid. Generally, the folks in the 2022 or the yellow range, not very happy or amenable at all to the suggestion that they come in and pay the debt of previous, homeowners. We send notices out. We try to get forwarding addresses as much as possible. So my suggestion would be to wipe off the 2022 and beyond. So 2022 or anything earlier than that, and then move forward with the other years, 2023 and 2024 on that.
May I ask a question? Because I haven't had a chance to thoroughly read your email, unfortunately, before I had to take off for that training, but does active mean those are the current residents of that
Yes.
location?
Well, not necessarily the current residents. So for example,
Active
Yeah,
should,
back to voters.
active should be the current resident.
right, but
Yeah.
like for 148 apartment B Irving Road, it is the active owner, but not necessarily the active
Resident.
resident.
Okay,
Because that one's an apartment, so they've got, that one had a previous tenant in there that is the one that is supposed to be old.
So to understand this, Craig, this yellow one,
Mm-hmm.
somebody bought a house. Basically, they didn't know they had a water sewer lien on their property because it wasn't in the tax.
Correct.
So it's just a bill hanging out here in that other person's name.
Yes.
So another person comes along, signs up for water and sewer because they bought a new house. Did they find out when they bought that house that they had that problem, or did we tell them later?
We were only able to do it 6 months after
Oh,
the
okay.
delinquency. So we go after the previous as much as we can, and then, but in this case, it hasn't been done as regularly as, as we want. So it's been a couple of years since we've gone through this process, whereas now we want to do it more regularly, so the new owners can hopefully have better opportunity to recoup the money from the, previous owners, and or talk with title companies, things like that to try to get this rectified.
Can I make one clarification for his question?
Sure.
When someone sells their house and the title company calls us, we don't know what the final bill is going to be. So it won't show up when they call us. But if they call us, we do tell them they owe this much, but there will be a final bill. Because you don't know what your final bill is until you leave,
Right.
because we don't do a read.
So
So,
they're not going into this or going out of these premises without the
Yeah.
knowledge that that water bill, sewer bill is there.
Co-
Because it's quarterly. They could leave first part of the quarter.
but we do a final read. The problem is the people don't pay their last bill.
They just gone.
Yeah.
Or in some cases, it
Mm-hmm.
looks like someone just left their water hose on for every day
Or
That too.
for a year.
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah, 800 and some dollars.
That was my question. How do they get to $851?
They run their water a lot.
Either that or they let
Water
multiple invoices go delinquent. So
kinda
maybe
Yeah.
a combination of that.
So
Valid
of these,
viewpoint.
of these, the bill, if I were, say, renting a developer's house,
Mhm.
and then there's a new tenant that comes in, this would be reflective of that environment as well. Is that accurate?
Yes,
And so what percentage do you think are rentals here?
probably maybe 10%. Very, very few.
Enough for Christmas or 4th of July fireworks though, right?
Right.
Okay. I mean, I won't think this is an inconsequential scenario, especially when you start looking at some of these water bills, but, and I get it. Some of them are just never paid because they probably don't like clean water or sewage. In my opinion, when we start looking at, for instance, the yellow, which is what you're insinuating is with your comments earlier, is that you just want to write off the yellow,
Mhm.
which for those who aren't reading is a $1,000, $1,081. It's curious, again, how many of those were rentals that where a new tenant came in and then the,
Of the yellow is one. I looked
One.
all those up. Yep.
so,
Mhm.
so 10%.
So
Right.
my,
It
It's
holds.
consistent.
It is consistent, yeah.
I guess my thought process here, and this is just as we're discussing it, so it's just ideas, my thought would be, we're gonna spend more money in staff time tracking down anything more than just the yellow. So I would say, sounds like you already have a better process in place to regain some of these unpaid fines. Let's just clear the sheet for everything 2023, 2022 that's inactive, and then this one here that's active. I mean, I'll let you make that discussion,
Yeah.
but
And just for clarity, we're not writing it off. We're going to put liens on their.
For,
on
put
their
liens on
taxes.
my suggestion would be to move forward with putting the liens on or adding it to the taxes for the 2023 and 2024.
Yeah, the green and
then
blue.
writing off the
But-
2020.
The problem is that these are all new homeowners
yes.
Right,
that are paying the previous owner's bill.
right. But there's also better, some of these we still do have some, forwarding addresses, and some of them, there's less time, since the transaction that they can go back to the previous homeowner and or the title company and ask for, some assistance with this stuff.
I see, you're saying that the current owner can go back on, if they can find that person.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's one here, $904. That's a big bite.
Mhm.
I kind of, I went, when I talked about the yellow, I was thinking, that's so small, except for this character that's $368. I'd forgive the rest of them,
Yeah.
to me, and don't bother with the chicken feed.
Yeah, they moved. They moved out and then they just decided not to. They probably have the same problem at Consumers Energy or.
Yeah, where they
whatever.
go.
Yeah, whenever the person moves out, they're
The
just like,
consumers
whatever.
doesn't send the new owner a bill,
Yeah.
making them pay the old person's
Yeah,
bill.
I don't want to penalize our residents that didn't create this bill, and it sounds
Right.
like you've already got a really good system to go forward with. I
I
would
mean, that
just.
it's actually penalizing the people who
Right,
currently own the
so-
property. So
Yeah,
I-
I think we should just
And
forgive
these are
this.
real costs, just so you know, whatever action you take, we do have real costs, we have staff time, we have, we have infrastructure that is, paid through these bills and.
is there an ability to use a collection agency or anything?
Or
I mean,
like
is that
tax
possible?
offset or something?
Possibly.
For, if you have names to go with it, like you could take it out of their taxes. And it's just a file you form with, a form you file with the court. I mean, it's probably $30.
We're sticking people that live here today with somebody who no longer lives here.
Yep.
Right.
I just want to be really clear about this.
No, I meant
okay?
the previous
Yeah,
owner.
Yeah.
and so a collection agency would be able to potentially look them up and track them down and make those phone calls, and then they keep a percentage of that collection, and then
Some of these are
we get the
substantial.
rest. But, I mean, there's nothing fancy about how we do this. Either we're gonna penalize the people that live there today, who are village residents today for people, and they are gonna pay the bill for people who are no longer living here. And if there's anybody listening to this conversation, I would say raise your hand if you really think that that's fair. And I don't. I would much rather find the person who incurred these expenses,
Yeah.
find out a means to be able to do that. And because I don't like this. This is not elegant and it is not fair to the people that live there today, to be shouldered with the bill from somebody that no longer is paying taxes in this village. So I don't know, I don't want to write it off, because to your point, we have infrastructure, we have bills. I think that it's important that we maintain commitment to collecting funds on that very valuable service that even Brandon said we're a unique village in the sense that we have a great water infrastructure. And honestly, it's worth pursuing, but I don't know if penalizing the current resident is the way to do that.
I agree.
I guess,
Yeah.
Craig, I'm wondering is, when you say you have a new system, so how would you address, the 2024? You're saying you have a better system?
Well, I don't
make
know
sure
if there's a
that
better,
2 years from now,
I don't
we
know if that was the right terminology, saying we have a better system or not. The reason that there's less from 2023 or 2022 than there are, with the 2023 is because we've been after, as much as we can to try to get those paid, and that's what we're left with right now.
What if we
So-
were to try to do like a
Okay.
credit system, like where we ask them to put a deposit down and then we already have the money, and then if they need to pay more, then it's just a little bit, or if it's
Can't
not
do that
enough,
with
then we
water.
refund them,
That's a
or.
good
It's a
idea.
public
You
utility.
can't do that.
Oh,
with
you
pub-
can't.
no.
Oh.
Yes,
That's
metered,
the same reason
metered.
why
can't.
electricity, you can't do that.
Right, okay.
So we have discussed, to go back to your question, we have looked at putting teeth in recent years as to how we can collect. So we have
There's an ordinance on the books which would
Yeah.
allow you to move forward as, as recommended by the finance director. But if you want to do something different, by all means, we can do something different.
I was talking more about our current system on how we collect, sending it against taxes and having a certain percentage and late fees and things like that. But I feel like that's made a significant impact from year to year, looking at 2023 and 2024. I agree with Kevin. I don't want to penalize those that currently live here for the non-payment of others' financial misfortunes, we'll put it that way.
Can we do that? Look into that collections agency process? I think that's always pretty threatening.
Yeah.
If you get one of those, I've never had one, but I would think it would be.
I think for every one of the properties that are rental properties, that we can certainly put a tax lien on there.
Yeah.
Because they still own the house.
Mhm.
So I think that's just, it's not our problem that that they're, so I think
Yeah.
even if we need to tighten up our ordinances to make that happen, I think that is more than fair because that property is still being, they still own it. So it's, water was coming in and out of there. That's an amenity that people that were paying them rent. So I think that that's fair.
It follows the house.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think the people who have moved, I think we need not punish the people that just decided to move to Middleville and make Middleville their home.
Right.
That seems a little more reasonable. And if that clears up 10%, I'm happy. I would be happy with 10% than nothing. With regard to making it, either contacting the house owner and letting them know that this is an issue, and if they've been contacted and they still don't make amends with and reconcile that, then I think that it's certainly incumbent upon them. They still own the house, so. But I think a collection agency might be something that we might be able to look into. I'm just saying, go after the people that owe us the money.
The collection agency, I think what you're gonna find out is that if you look at these, the cost for a $30, $91, the litter ones would wipe out any benefit.
They don't do the $30 collection. They do the they're going to look at the 5,700 and say, we figure we're going to collect 80% of that. And then we're going to keep whatever. And then we'll get the balance.
Okay.
They don't really necessarily they don't give us a full number, or they don't give us a bespoke number for each account. They're probably going to commit to a certain sum, and then
It would be a bad precedent if you started picking and choosing down
Yeah.
through here.
So what I'm understanding, and maybe I'm just clarify, council would like to attach the bills to the non-owner occupied properties and look at other alternatives for the owner occupied. So if I could have that in a motion to attach the non-owner occupied to the taxes, then we can move forward with that at least, and we can explore other alternatives for the rest.
And you mean only on the inactives, right? Because there are a
Yes.
couple active, those are the homeowners
Correct.
or tenants still in
Yes.
those places.
owner occupied. Yep.
Yes.
So,
The active. So the motion would be and what do you want to call it? I mean, I don't know. Disposition, do lien, what would you like the verbiage to be?
To apply unpaid utility bills of non-owner occupied properties to as of December 31st, 2024 to the 2025 tax roll per chapter 70 of the Village Code of Ordinance.
So moved.
Hold on. So non-owner occupied.
Yes,
So the inactive accounts.
inactive non-owner occupied.
So
Yeah.
you want the inactive non-owner occupied accounts to be applied to the tax roll?
Yes, that's
even
what
though-
it sounds like you were talking about.
No,
Okay.
I'm misunderstanding.
Let-
Yeah.
Are
Non-owner.
you referring to homes that are rented
Yes,
by people who own them in the village? Those current owners
yes,
would be assessed.
yes.
But then those are owner occupied.
I don't know if that
But
is
that's a
that,
rental.
Those
It's a
are
little
non-
different than selling
is
a
that
house
how
and
you
buying
refer to a
house.
rental property? Is it?
non-owner occupied is correct. That's a
Yes,
rental
that's a
property.
It's a rental.
Okay, that's.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah, the term confused me. I'm
Yeah,
Sorry,
that's right.
that was my real estate
Yeah.
broker jargon.
So you're-
coming out of my
You're about
mouth.
ready to go to
I was
fisticuffs.
gonna
Like,
add
I was like, no, I think that's
active ones in there too.
So the way I wrote it down was inactive, but you also want so inactive and active, non-owner occupied as of 12/31/24.
Yeah.
yes,
And then you also want the
active,
active, no matter what it is.
right.
I made a motion on the non-owner
Do we need to have two or?
No.
All right,
One motion's good.
we'll amend your motion.
Thank you.
Okay.
Rhonda, will you please read our motion?
I'm trying to think it. So it's to apply utility bills on, it's actually going to be delinquent utility bills, right? Or delinquent as of this day, okay? On non-owner inactive accounts and all active accounts, whether they are not, or non-owner or not.
Whatever
Right?
they are, yeah.
I know what I want to say. It's just that's the gist of it.
Yes,
Okay.
that's the gist of it.
Okay.
And then is there any, well, I'll let you vote on that first.
And we'll do a roll call because it's complicated.
Yep.
Need a support.
Well,
I'll support
did
it.
someone make the motion? Mr.
Yeah, I
Hamilton
did.
made the
Mr.
motion,
Hamilton made it.
right? And you're supporting?
I'll support it.
Kevin? Okay. And we're ready to vote?
Let's do it.
Okay.
No, we
Okay.
discussed.
Mackenzie Peters,
Aye.
You want a discussion?
Well, we're gonna
do you need more discussion?
talk about
I'm
the
sorry.
rest of them a
Yes,
different
in a
way,
minute.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, good.
Okay. I can't. okay.
Roll, yeah.
All right. Ian Williams,
Aye.
Robert Bishop,
Aye.
Tracy Gillespie,
Aye.
Richard Hamilton.
Aye.
John Osterban,
Aye.
Kevin Smith.
Aye.
And then is there anything you want to do with the 2022 and earlier?
I'll just dismiss it. That would be fine. It's not worth it. It's 500, it's $1,000. It's,
If you clump it in, and if a collection agency
Yes.
were to do that, that is no longer 57, it's 6,700.
Yeah,
That's a lot of money.
yeah.
That's the difference between giving to the Lions Club and not.
so are we moving forward with then a recommendation to have Craig
I can
Provide-
explore some options.
some credit options,
I can
collector options?
work through that stuff. We don't need another motion if
No,
that's,
this
if
is a
that's the direction you would like.
First of all, thank you for entertaining this because honestly, it is crazy that we just let this kind of money fly out the window because we all shoulder that
Yeah.
as residents. And I'll tell you what, I am, especially water and sewer, people just don't understand how valuable of a service that is and how much we have invested in it. Millions and millions of dollars go into that system. It is worth every penny, and we're behind in many ways. We're behind on our rate increases, and I get it. It's a painful topic, but it's also very dependable, and our water quality speaks for itself. So this is a big deal. I'm super passionate about that, and I defend our water and sewer service all the time. So it's important that we help pay for it.
As long as we're not, like you said, penalizing
Right.
people that didn't make that bill.
Agreed. 100% agree with you. Okay, that was so much work. Moving on. Do we have anything else?
That's all I've got.
All right. We have boards in your packet that all of you read, I'm sure, before this meeting. Any boards and commissions, informational items, correspondence, DDA revenue and expenditures report as of 2/26/25. We are up to public comments. Public comments, please. Cassie, bring it.
Hi, my name is Cassandra Clark. I wanted to take the opportunity to introduce myself. This is currently the start of week 3 for me since joining this position. A little bit about what I've been doing so far is focusing on making connections with our local businesses, learning about what they are needing, what they are wanting in terms of support from the DDA. Additionally, I have been utilizing social media and kind of doing a proto, just kind of like testing out the market on social media, utilizing social media as a way to provide a business spotlight on my page as the community development coordinator. I've received a lot of good positive feedback from the businesses that have chosen to participate and being a part of that spotlight. Additionally, it's also provided a great way for me to share and advertise some of the events that are going on here in Middleville in ways that it might not generally reach the public. Additionally, I'm also working on sponsorship packages and working on all of the events that you guys love here so much in Middleville to make them as wonderful as can be.
When do you think those sponsorship packages will be ready?
I plan to have the rough draft submitted tomorrow.
Awesome.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to
Nice
see
to meet you as well. Thank you so much.
Just a reminder that council's not supposed to interact with the public speakers.
Yeah.
She's not. But Ms. Getty is.
Sure. Don't just, don't ask me any questions. Wanted to let you know, TAPRC, so our meeting is April 16th. That's our kickoff meeting with Williams and Works on our 5-year rec plan. So we'll be looking at what kinds of engagement or how that engagement will take place. We already know that we contracted with them to do an online survey, to do some public input sessions, kind of where people are. You know, we love to come down to the music or farmer's market and those kinds of things to engage with public that way. And then, as you remember, we did have the opportunity to have a joint meeting with the entities so we can make sure that our priorities align, and that becomes a plan that we can all use moving forward. Another passion of mine, obviously trails. I've been working really hard to build up our local Paul Henry Thornapple Trail Association and get membership from across the regional trail network. So not just from Hastings and Middleville, but Nashville. I'm meeting with the Eaton County Parks Director on Friday, and we've been planning some Trek the Trail. You've probably seen my posts. I've been trying to share it out there where we're walking sections of trail. We started at 44th and 44th Street in Kentwood near Horrocks up there, and have been walking 2.5 to 5 mile sections. So come join us to do that. It's a great way to see the trail. There's nothing like being on the ground and having that opportunity. We're 2 Saturdays away from being here in Middleville and hiking the Middleville sections.
Nice.
Thank you.
Hello, you mentioned water and sewer, so I wanted to tell you a little bit about the experience I have living in Georgetown Township, Ottawa County. There's over 50,000 people that live in that township. So we have sanitary sewer with the city of Granville, water with the city of Wyoming. Up until like 18 months ago, or even a year or so, or maybe a little less, my typical combined water sewer bill was about $128 every 3 months quarterly. And it is now up to about $180. And I'm using this amount of water. So I just wanted to put that out there on the record too. I know a lot of communities and townships and struggle with adjusting water and sewer bills. My counsel to people has always been, at least inflation, if nothing else has changed, the cost of the chemicals, the cost of the salaries, all the things that go into the cost of owning and maintaining a water and sewer system, does increase. And of course, if things changes with debt service and all that, or something major, then you have to make different adjustments, but they're going up everywhere. So just wanted to share that experience. That was quite an increase.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing. That is awesome that you shared that. Anyone else? Is there anyone left? All right. Beth, anything from you? I'm just joking. All right, final council comment. I want to start with you, Mr. Hamilton.
Great meeting.
Thanks.
Nice to meet Cassandra. She reminded me of the newscaster that gets behind and the weather report's got to be real fast. Very good.
I think not in the water and sewer till I took the tour as a resident of 30 years, I took it for granted. And I don't know, I said it before, how we could get other people to know what it takes to have our own sewer, and our own water. I mean, I think be interested in any ideas how to let more people know it's not just turning on the faucet, flushing the toilet, it's just, it made me appreciate, I never thought my bill was too high, but I did appreciate what I do pay for it.
Yeah.
For me, I just want to yet again say how great the Berry County leadership experience has been so far. So today, again, we were at the 911 dispatch, Stephanie Lehman, we've all met for the most part. She is a fantastic director of the 911 dispatch, but it was really interesting to go through that building and get a little bit of knowledge on how 911 works. I didn't realize it was its own authority board for the county, so it encompasses a lot of different municipalities within the county. So that was very interesting, and it was really great hearing from Chair Commissioner Jackson and Vice Chair Hatfield on how the county works, and picked on them a little bit, but they picked right back on me. So, so it was a good experience. I'm glad we had that discussion on the water bills. I think that was very cathartic as well. So we were able to exercise our dialogue in that. So thanks for being patient with us, Craig.
Mhm.
And then I'd also want to say that policy change, living and breathing ESTA for the last few months, it was exact verbiage to the regulation or to the new ESTA Act. So good job on that. And that's all I got.
Thanks.
Tracy.
I just have questions. No, about discussion on the utilities. When do you do the discussion for options on that at the next meeting?
In terms of the collection,
Yeah,
Craig's gonna find out if there's anything feasible out there for us to pursue collection of those bills, and then we'll have a chance to discuss that.
okay. Other than that, I guess nothing.
I don't really have anything. I've been sick for a while and I should be on the upswing now. So the last meeting, I'd been at the emergency room all weekend. And so I just forgot. I lost track of days. And so that was it.
Well, I hope you're feeling better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I'm glad to see you out and about anyway.
Yeah, kidney stone. So
Oh,
yeah,
Oh, boy.
Joyful.
yeah.
Too young for those.
yeah. Ouch.
Welcome. I want to say welcome again to Cassie. I had the pleasure of working with her last week for a business feature, and she's amazing. Like, just her aura, her everything, and she is what we need. So I'm very excited to see the DDA back up and running, and all the events and all the awesome things that she has gonna make her village good again. That's it.
Amazing again.
Oh, sorry. Make it amazing again.
It's already amazing.
Yeah.
Comment on trails. Craig and I pulled a Placer AI map, and wow. I mean, Middleville gets people from everywhere. And it's nuts how many people come and visit Middleville because of our trail. So I am always shocked as to how Middleville draws people to its city center. And I love that. And speaking of city center, I really am encouraged by the progress for the library committee. I hope that they can find a bright, shiny new home, maybe even by the river. It would be really fun if that were the case.
We're going to talk about it. So
Just throwing that out there as a talking point maybe someday. I am and I continue to be very stoked about the DDA and just how vibrant and energetic we just have such an amazing amount of work to do. And it's going to require people with a lot of energy. So thank you for being energetic, and it's awesome to have you on the team. I mean, I was shopping downtown, just visiting stores and saying hello to everybody, and we ran into each other. shop, actually. And,
Yep.
that's what it's all about, right? Like, it's amazing to see how many people were downtown. As soon as the weather broke, everybody was just out and about, and it was fantastic. I am very thankful for the DDA and the direction they're going in. And I'm also very thankful for each of it and every one of you. I mean, this board has such thoughtful discussion, and I know we can't get home in time for Mr. Hamilton's dinner sometimes, but
I'm only down to 2 meals a day now.
but it is really great. I feel like we have really thoughtful discussion, and I appreciate all of your perspectives and questions. I mean, I think it's worth it to spend a few extra minutes to just really have thoughtful outcomes on the things that we face here today. So, Bob, thanks for just what you do. I know it's hard. And with that, I would like to have someone make a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
And with a motion and support, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? So adjourned.
Oh,
Comes back door.
I went downstairs
I went out.